What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Sorry we couldn't bring this to you earlier. We were dying to, but we just got caught up in a couple of things and couldn't be there. But things have progressed even more since we brought you the update. We know that we got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. We know we got the bomber from David Ornstein. Mohamed Kudus will be a Tottenham player. Medical looks like it's going to be tomorrow. We're all buzzing for it, but there's a few more bits and pieces about the deal that we're going to clear up for you guys today, and we've got some more transfer news regarding some other specific players, which we're going to get into. So let's just get straight into it, and then we can have a little chat afterwards. But on the Kudus deal, Sammy Mokbel says at least 6 other top clubs understood to have inquired about a potential deal for Mohamed Kudus, but the Ghanaian prioritised the move to Spurs above any other football club this summer. Sky Sports says that Chelsea and Newcastle both expressed interest in Kudus early in the window, but Kudus only wanted a move to Spurs. Sam C says that Atletico Madrid were one of the clubs interested in Kudus, and Spurs ITK Spurs Journo says that 3 different Premier League clubs offered Kudus a package higher wages than Spurs, but he only wanted Spurs. So there's other bits and pieces to get into on Kudus, but on that basis alone, that's quite unbelievable. It's got to be an absolute bitter pill to swallow if you're a West Ham fan.
100%. But in terms of better packages, who would they have been? I mean, would have been? I find that hard to believe. I mean, maybe Chelsea I can believe, but who else would have been? More Newcastle, maybe. But obviously, they spent. To be fair, they did spend a very similar fee on Alanga, so maybe they were also interested in sniffing around. I can't think who else.
Packages, wages.
I know. Who else would have offered him the wages? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think who. No, he said 3 Premier League teams.
Oh, Premier League teams. I mean, Chelsea, Newcastle, Arsenal, potentially. I don't know.
Arsenal, yeah, it's interesting. Obviously, we know Newcastle and Arsenal are looking for a right winger, so maybe it was those two that offered the wages as well. But for some reason, I don't know what it is, but he was just so determined to boil as much piss as possible that he only wanted Tottenham. Absolutely love it, and I'm all here for it. It's a fantastic deal for Tottenham. It's definitely it must be a bitter pill to swallow. I've just been watching some reactions from West Ham fans, and they are salty as hell. They're salty as anything about this deal, saying he's going to flop. He's not even a good player. All these different things. So it's going to be interesting to see. Once you go to the Olympic Stadium, all that kind of stuff, the actual reaction, and if there's going to be the massive blowback about what they were talking about on social media about any in-person demonstrations against the board and all these kind of things. But whatever, we can put it all to one side. I just think from Tottenham's point of view, I'm just delighted we've got this signing. I think it's such an exciting deal, such an exciting player. And I just can't believe we've done it for 55 million, as Jacob Steinberg said, spread over 3 years. So pretty good deal, pretty decent payment terms from Tottenham's point of view. I mean, it's just, I can't believe it was as simple as that, to be honest. And we got it, it was so much easier than I thought we would. And we got there early as well. We got the deal done and secured. Very, very good. Well done. And credit to Daniel Levy and the hierarchy for getting it done. You've got to give him credit because we were all saying, pay the money, do this, do that. And he didn't. He held his nerve and they got a great deal. And I think credit to him.
Yeah, I feel like he's really pulled West Ham's pants down. Sullivan and Brady must be like saying, how the hell has Levy got us to do this? 55 million when he had a release clause of 85 million. Spurs were the least club that they wanted him to join. And we've managed to get it 55 million when they were looking at 60 to 65. It's quite unbelievable when you think about it, the deal that's been done here. So, yeah, I want to give credit to everyone involved in getting this deal done. I'm delighted with it. I really am delighted with it. I think he fills a void in the squad that we haven't had in a while, and I can't wait to see him get started. And it's great that he's in before pre-season even starts as well in terms of the games. And the players are just filtering back now. Like you saw the international players come back today. Some players came back at the beginning of the week. And hopefully Kudus can join in some of the action tomorrow or on Friday. But in terms of some other bits and pieces from the deal, Tom Barkley says that this signing is seen as a major bit of business from a Thomas Frank, who made signing a new winger his top priority. Steinberg and Fabrizio both say that the fee of 55 million will be spread over the course of 3 years. And Graham Bailey says that Tottenham reduced the Kudus fee by 10 million. West Ham insisted they wanted 65 million for the forward, but eventually accepted a deal worth 55 million to sign Mohamed Kudus. It makes him the most expensive Ghanaian footballer in history. And a few other stats about Kudus to show you the level of player that we're dealing with here is that Kudus successfully completed more dribbles in the Premier League across the last 2 campaigns than any other player, which is 216. And only Lamine Yamal has won more offensive duels than Mohamed Kudus in the top 7 leagues this season, which is 261.
Yeah, incredible. And I think in his first season, he was one of the highest performing kind of attackers when it came to amount of tackles he was making and things like that, and how hard he was working. So for one reason or another, it went wrong from that aspect in the second season. But we know when he's on his game, he's not just a flair player and a player on the ball who's great. He actually can dig in and work very hard and do a good job off the ball for the team as well, which is going to be just as crucial, especially when we're looking to improve as a team and we need everyone to dig in and play their part. I'm just so excited now with our attacking options. If we can get Tell to fulfill his potential. Obviously, if Son stays, we know how good he is, and I still think he's got a lot to offer. You got Brennan, who was our top goal scorer last season. You got Decky, who can play out wide, and we know how good he can be. And now we've got Kudus there as well, who I think just takes that. In terms of just what we can offer and how we can threaten teams, it's like a completely new weapon to our armory. It's like we've got we've just added something to our arsenal. You know what I mean? And
no.
Okay, maybe that was the wrong term. We've got added something to. We got a new weapon. We've got a new weapon to play with, and I'm just delighted. I'm delighted that we've got him through the door, and I can't wait to see what he can do. I think we're going to be a lot more unpredictable now. I think in the forward line, there's going to be so many different ways we can hurt teams now, running in behind, long shots, and now we've got a player who can take the ball and run at you and dribble at you, and who's very, very hard to stop. And we haven't really had that in a long, long time. It's on the wing, especially, probably since Bale, and even in our team, someone who can just hang on to the ball in difficult situations and dribble out of trouble. Haven't had that probably since Dembele. So I think having that someone who you just know you can give the ball to, and he can hang on to the ball in difficult situations, that is going to make us so much harder to play against, so much harder to get the ball off as well. And it's going to make us a lot more difficult to transition on. So I think it's so exciting, like the thought of what he could bring, what he could do for us. And I think there's so many upsides to this deal. I just can't wait for him to get going.
Yeah, 100%. I'm absolutely buzzing for this deal, not only because of what it's going to bring us on the pitch, but also just how much the West Ham fans are seething right now. They really are. It's a joy to behold, and it's a delight to see. I called it football heritage before, and I think that's exactly what it is, in terms of Spurs going and taking one of West Ham's best players. And look, we'll get into a lot more about Kudus and the West Ham fans a bit later in the stream, but I want to bring you some more transfer news and speculation, and I want to go to Cuti Romero, as Javier Diaz from AS says that Atletico have grown tired in their pursuit of Cuti Romero and have now given up their attempts to sign him. Tottenham's response has always been blunt. They weren't going to sell Romero, and Atleti are now looking at different options. And Romano just relaying the information from earlier today, saying the Romero situation is quiet. Tottenham have not yet received any official bids from Romero, from Atletico Madrid. So, I mean, but AS, who were reporting, I think a week or two ago, they were saying much more positive things about Romero and Atletico Madrid. And now they're saying that Atletico looking at different options and have grown quite tired of trying to deal with Daniel Levy.
I don't think we've heard the last of this deal. I know Dario AS are a Spanish publication. They're very hit and miss, I would say, whether they're positive or negative about it. But whether it's true or not, I think it could easily be just is it are they putting out there to try and get Romero to try and kick up a fuss and force a move and try and get Tottenham to soften their stance? Is that kind of part of them putting this kind of news out there? Is it genuinely? Are they genuinely looking at other options? And are Tottenham going to be keeping Romero? And is Romero happy to stay? Look, Romero's just come back to Hotspur way today. We're going to get to the pictures later. So obviously, their conversations with Frank have to happen, and he has to see exactly where Romero's head's at before any decision from Tottenham side is made. If he has that decision with Frank, and he has a for want of a better term, a frank chat with him, and he says to Thomas, look, I like Tottenham, but I really think I need to leave, and I really think that's where my head's at the moment. Then Tottenham's stance will soften. It will. They're not going to keep him if his head's looking leaving, even if it's not about him putting up a fuss. If his head's not, in at Tottenham, then Frank's the kind of manager who only wants players who want to be here. He's not going to want players against their will. But if he's talking to him and he's like, look, I'm happy to stay here. I'm fully committed to it. Yes, if a bid comes in, I'm open to Atletico, but I'm very committed to staying at Tottenham. I'm not going to sign a contract, but I am really happy here. I love my teammates, and I'm obviously my head's very much here. Maybe there's more of a case that we can keep him, but I just can't see him signing a contract. So how much that plays on Tottenham's minds when they're negotiating, we'll have to wait and see. But of course, Atletico are never going to get this deal done this early. We all know that, with the fee that we want and the caliber of player and his stature at the club, and also how good he is of a defender. Tottenham are always going to play hardball with this. And so if they felt they can just get a deal done early with their opening offer, that was never going to happen. So if they're growing frustrated, doesn't surprise me, but I don't think they're going to walk away just yet. It only tells me they're going to come back.
Yeah, they might very well come back, but will they ever offer enough money for Spurs to bite the bullet and say yes? I don't know. Like, we've always heard that the valuations are way too far apart. We've heard that Romero is not gonna put in a transfer request, isn't gonna kick up a fuss. He knows that the longer his contract runs down, the more power he gets. So is this just a case to say, look, just wait and see what happens in the window? But there is a strong case to say Romero could stay.
It's always a possibility, and I'm happy for him to stay. I hope he does. I don't next summer, we'll probably get less money, but maybe during the year, if he's really believing in what Frank's doing, maybe we can convince him to sign. I think signings like Kudus will help, to be honest, because we know that he complains about level of signing, and he complains about who we kind of go with, and we know push on and things like that. We've heard him say those words to Argentinian press. So I think signings like Kudus I think he'll like that. But again, I don't know that I don't think that alone is going to convince him that we're changing our ways and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that'll definitely be a step in the right direction. And maybe next season, if we're really challenging where we should be, back up amongst for the Champions League spots in the league and doing well in the cups and stuff, maybe you'll think, look, maybe my future could be here. But I think right now, with the frustration he clearly outwardly showed last season in some interviews, and all the rumours and stuff, I don't think he's sitting here at the moment contemplating signing a new deal. So I think Spurs have to live with that, and if they're okay to live with that, then there's definitely opportunity for him to stay. But some players, they weren't okay to live with it.
Yeah. But they were okay to live with it with Harry Kane. They let him run down till a year to go, and then he obviously left to Bayern Munich. So maybe if just they think it's going to make the hell of a difference, the world of difference for us in the league next season, they're not going to sell him for a very much undervalued fee. And I don't think they'll sell him for an undervalued fee anyway. And that's the only fees that Atletico have been rumoured to willing to spend.
Yeah, again, it depends. It depends how that conversation goes with Thomas Frank. I'm not saying undervalued, I'm not saying massively, but I think they'll compromise on a fee, I think, if that conversation goes not in the way they hope.
But look, that is the story right now, is that AS are saying that they've given up. and they're moving on to other targets within the market. Whether that's true or not remains to be seen, and we'll I guess we'll see if they actually do in the next week or so. But other news regarding Yoan Wissa that we brought to you earlier today, Sky Sports are now saying it's expected that there's going to be club-to-club talks between Spurs and Brentford over a deal for Yoan Wissa, which is extremely interesting. We know that he's only got a year left in his contract. We heard a report, I can't remember who it was from, saying they're going to want 50 million or something for Yoan Wissa, which is crazy money for his age, the time left in his contract. I think if they're willing to go into club negotiations, Frank will know what kind of fee they'll be willing to accept.
Yeah, and obviously they're currently in negotiations with Mbeumo, with United from Mbeumo as well. So how much of an impact that has, we'll have to wait and see. But I think we spoke about it before. It's a very interesting deal, and I think it's a play in terms of replacing Richarlison with him. I think for me, that's a really good deal, and I think he's someone who's really been improving year on year. He offers a different threat to what Solanke offers. He's definitely more of a bit more of a poacher, running behind kind of attacker. Also very used to playing in a 2 with a support striker as well. Can play a kind of wide forward. He's just what he's very good at is similar to Son. He's very good at making runs. He's got very good timing of his runs. Very good at making space for himself, and I think he's a pretty decent finisher as well. I wouldn't say he's like. I think he is similar to Mbeumo. He's in terms of he's gotten more clinical as time's gone on and getting in those positions. I wouldn't say he's like an elite finisher. But he gets in very good positions, and I think he's might be a player when I'm comparing him to Solanke, just very much more quicker off the block, quicker kind of getting shots off and things like that. Again, I don't see him as a striker who. Similar to Solanke, like when I watch some of his goals or score, like he's very much going to run in behind and finish kind of goal scorer. He's not kind of one who's going to get the ball, make some space for himself, and curl it into the corner. He's capable of that, but he's not like an elite player, that kind of thing. So I wouldn't expect like some like really crazy goals from him. But he's an effective player. He's very effective, and he makes the most out of what he's got, and he definitely does that. And I know Frank knows exactly how to get the most out of what he offers. So I think if he can get him scoring at a similar rate to what he was doing at Brentford, and you have him back up to Solanke, I think that could be something really, really promising. And the fact that we're going for him on top of Kudus is really good as well. I didn't want it to be instead of we needed someone like Kudus and with his skill set. I think that was a must. But to get someone like Wissa on top of that, add more goals to the front line, and again, more different variations of threat as well, because we don't really have someone. I guess we have Son, but the difference with Wissa and Son is Wissa just has that little bit more physicality to hold off defenders and stuff. With Son, like once he's away from a defender, it's very hard to stop him. But once a defender gets close to him, it's difficult for him to get away from him. And sometimes he can get out of muscle. Wissa's a bit different. He can hold the players off when he's running on goal, and he can use the physicality in that kind of way. So it's a different kind of threat that we don't really have, I feel, in the squad when it comes to a pure number 9 running in behind, that kind of thing. So I think that is also another profile which could really fit. But yeah, 50 million is a bit ridiculous. So I think if that's the price they're going with, we should move on to our different targets.
That's not the price that they're going to be going with. If that's the price that they're going with, there's no chance we'd even entertain club-to-club talks. I'm telling you, Thomas Frank will know a lot more about the thinking of what's going on behind the scenes at Brentford for sure. And with 1 year left, his age, my prediction is something between half of what that 50 million fee is, 25, 20, around that ballpark figure. But you've got a player who's got double-digit goals in the Premier League over the last 2 years, 12 goals last season, 2 seasons ago, and 19 last season. Frank knows how to get the best out of this guy, and to have him in competition with Dom Solanke, to have Kudus in competition with Brennan Johnson, and on the left-hand side, if Sonny stays, to have Sonny in competition with Matisse Tell, then you're really starting to see a front three where you can get behind. Because over the last couple of years, you've had a few players here and there which you can see good stuff from, but now we've got real options and real competition for places if we bring Wissa in.
Yeah, and so many versatile players as well who can play in multiple different positions, and again, that's going to make us a lot more unpredictable. Some games maybe we want Kudus on the left, just running down the line, and we know he's pretty much the only player who can go on the outside on the left. Sometimes we're going to want Johnson there. Sometimes we're going to want Wissa running in behind up front. Sometimes we're going to want two up front. All these different things. Frank is going to have all the different variations he wants, basically, and he can pick and choose for any specific opponent, any specific game, what he feels is best tactically, and that is what's so exciting about this potentially.
Mm. And also, when you compare him to Richarlison, and you compare him to the sheer amount of football he's played over the last 4 years, right?
Yeah,
he's always available. Wissa, he rarely gets injured. I think he played in pretty much every Brentford game last season.
his
35
last
games.
season, 35, 34, 38
Exactly.
appearances.
So there you go. Compare that to Richarlison. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is 9 days.
Yeah, so that's obviously a big aspect of it as well, in my opinion, why it's such a important signing to make. And I think us, with potentially going into club talks with Brentford, if that is true, that is going to signal the end of Richarlison. It'll be interesting to see where he goes.
100%, he has to leave, I guess, because who else is going to leave? Unless Son is going to leave, or Odebear, or someone like that. I mean, to be honest, even if he's going to come in with Kudus, then two have to leave, really. Because again, I don't know where the squad space is coming. So unless we're going to take it away from other positions, which again I don't know who it would be, then, or unless someone's not going to be in the Champions League squad, there's just no space. And it again brings up the age-old issue that we talk about in every video, which doesn't seem to go away, is the squad space for Europe. And I know a lot of people saying you keep going on about it and it's not a big deal, but at the end of the day, it is a big deal. And it's something that you can't just stick your head in the sand about. You're going to have to confront it at some point. It's not exciting or fun to talk about, but it's a real issue which we have to contend with. And that's the reality, because of the squad planning that we've had and because of where we are at the moment, in terms of how many players we do have, and adding more and more players is only going to exacerbate it. I'm not saying we shouldn't sign players. I'm just saying we still have to deal with that issue. It's not going to go away. So that is something that it's going to be very interesting to see how Frank, because any way he does deal with it, it's going to be something that's going to be interesting. Something's going to go down.
Yeah, something's got to give at the end of the day. And you do got to feel sorry for Brentford, though, man. 5 of their coaching staff, their manager, their captain, Norgard, Wissa and Buemo, all
Top
these
2
guys
goal
out the
scorers.
door. I mean, I don't know how they survived this, to be honest.
Well, it's going to be difficult, don't get me wrong. On the face of it, it's going to seem like an impossible challenge. But I also believe Brentford are the kind of club who have probably planned for this. They've probably known that any given summer.
A lot.
It's a hell of a lot. I think the biggest one is obviously Frank. But Frank himself said the structure of Brentford, allowed him to succeed. He said a lot of managers could have been successful here because of how they're run. That was his words. And I think they would have known. They planned for a lot of eventualities. I think they have a list, probably similar to Brighton. They probably have a list in all positions of players who they can get for good fees to replace players they currently have. And I'm sure they have it from Romero and for Wissa. So, look, as much as it's going to be, if you're a Brentford fan right now, I would rightly be extremely worried and concerned. I think wait till you see what business you do, and wait to what it looks like at the start of the season, because Brentford have just made a habit of especially proving me wrong, but proving a lot of people wrong when it comes to how screwed you think they are when certain things happen.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's one thing like losing Ivan Toney, and a few players here and there, but there's another thing of a complete mass exodus. And that's literally what's happened here. So look, we'll have to wait and see. But in terms of some other bits and pieces, a journalist called Nico Shearer is saying that Tottenham want to keep Luka Vuskovic around next season instead of sending him out on loan. One training session with Frank and Vuskovic is all in.
Yeah, I mean, Nico Shearer is a terrible source, but it'll be interesting to see. It'll be interesting to see what we do. But again, squad issue. Okay, regardless, I'm not going to keep mentioning it. I would love Vuskovic to get an opportunity next season. I think everyone is so excited about him. I think physically, He's got imperious aerial ability. We've seen that. I think if he was to get his opportunity, he could take a lot of people by surprise. The one thing I'm a bit worried about right now, where he is in at 18, he's so big and tall and strong. Is that going to right now where he is? Has he got the pace to deal with, Premier League attackers, that kind of thing? Is that going to be something he struggles with? Is that something he needs to learn? I think sometimes when you've got defenders like him, like they use their physical qualities massively, but when it comes to putting yourselves in positions and positional sense to not allow yourself basically to be outpaced and getting those positions right, so that like if he's in a foot race with a quick attacker, he might lose out, but making sure that he positions himself so he's not in that situation. But that comes with experience and time, knowing how to do that. I feel like when he was in the Belgium league, like he just relied on his physical traits, and he was just so physically dominant. Premier League is going to be different, right? At 18, yes, he's still very physical for his age, but when you're coming up against big strikers and strong strikers and difficult to face strikers, he's not going to be probably as physically dominant in the Premier League as he was in the Belgian league or the Polish league. So it's going to be difficult for him to adapt to that. Plus, you have the pace issue, in my opinion, which you need to have that experience to know how to deal with that, how to overcome that. So unless he's just so unbelievable, in pre-season, and we believe, look, this guy, we think he's ready, then maybe another Bundesliga loan. But look, there's no reason why he shouldn't be as ready as any other centre backs that we're looking at giving an opportunity to, like Takai. There's a chance he could be just as ready as him. So if we're going to give him a chance, I want Vuskovic to get a fair crack at it as well.
And last but not least, Nico Shearer as well says that Tottenham have named their price on Yves Bissouma, and it's 25 million euros, which is not too different from the prices that we've seen elsewhere.
What's that in pounds? 20 billion?
Yeah, 20, maybe just a little bit under. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he goes for less. I reckon we accept 50.
No, but I mean, that's probably going to be our starting point, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think definitely we'll accept something less than that, in my opinion. No one's going to be 25 million. We sold Højbjerg for 17, which I don't know what that is in euros at the time. I think it wasn't that 20 million euros, which was, well, I don't know. It was 17 million pounds, I know.
I think 25 million euros is about 21 million pounds or something like that.
Okay, so yeah, I think a similar price to Højbjerg, maybe a bit less. That's what I'm expecting, which I don't think is unfair.
I think as a starting price, that's what Spurs are going to start the negotiations at. But yeah, I think they're willing to go down to probably somewhere between 15 and 20.
And there's a new update from Bessenberg saying they said if all goes well, Tottenham expect to announce the deal tomorrow for Kudus.
Come on, announcement day tomorrow.
Announcement day.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Tomorrow, if everything goes planned, the deal is expected to be announced tomorrow already. Contract till 2031. Deal finalized by his agency, Roof. Big up to the Roof agency.
Big up. And Ali Gold saying the Kudus deal was pushed through by Johan Lang.
Come on.
Lang. I mean, I would hope he was
not so much working in the darkness this time.
Yeah, this was very public. Although the darkness wasn't there, but in terms of the deal, still took everyone by surprise. No one was really reporting it was close or anything like that. And then all of a sudden, bam, it was there. We were just talking in the morning, as you say, Graham Bailey reporting that the deal's stalling. We had Paul O'Keefe saying the deal's nowhere near done. And then out of nowhere, a bomber from Ornstein, deal agreed, and then here we go straight away. So that definitely took everyone by surprise, the fact that we got this deal done. And I am shocked, I'm surprised, I'm impressed, and I'm delighted.
You know what? Whatever you want to say about Johan Lang, if he's a good sporting director or not, is beside the question. But he really has brought the excitement of transfers back to Tottenham.
That's definitely true, and that might be worth it. The fact that at any point, that surprise now is back again, which it's just it's not just a Tottenham problem. It's obviously a football problem when you got Romero literally reporting on every single little detail, every single deal. Transfers have definitely lost that special kind of surprise factor and that enjoyment factor they used to have. I feel back in the day when you would just be watching Sky Sports News and then they'll just have a breaking news, and that's how transfers basically used to find out about them, and there was something special about that. And so that's obviously we've lost an element of that, but definitely in the last couple of years with Odegaard deal coming up absolutely nowhere, and some other deals. And there's been a lot of dramatic deals. Dragoshin, remember, that deal, how dramatic that was. Bergvall as well with Barcelona. Like, definitely has been a lot of excitement when it comes. I wonder if it's all PR and maybe they're a lot more simpler than the media put out, but just to make Tottenham more fans more excited. But I definitely get excited, a lot more excited with these deals.
Yeah, but look, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let us know your thoughts in all the news stories that we brought to you in the comments section below.
Everyone, get your stools out. We need to be buying stools. Get your stools, people.
So why don't you get into the super chats while I get this up?
Yeah, we got 3 super chats here. Let's read them. Sam Palmer first. He says, I think this is an amazing signing. I really rate Kudus, and we got him for a fair price. Who do you boys want next? Big fan of the show. He's already on to the next one. He's forgotten about Kudus. He just signed him, and he's already put him in the back burner, and he's on to the next one. Well, obviously, Wissa is the latest name on the chopping block. Well, not chopping block, on the transfer hint rumours at the moment. I don't know if he's going to be next. It's hard to know. Who do I want? It says, who do you boys want next, I guess it says. So who would I want next? Midfielder. Get me a CDM. Get Douglas Luiz. There you go. I'm going to say it. Douglas Luiz. Swap deal for Bissouma. That's the deal I want. Get him in for pre-season. And then we're really rocking and rolling, I feel. So, yeah, Douglas Luiz, I would say.
I won't complain if it's Wissa, though.
Won't complain. I'm not going to complain if it's Wissa, but I think if he asks me who do I want, I'm saying Douglas Luiz. That's the one I want. Victor Tyson. Hats off, Levy, for once. It's a special feeling to come. Just a special feeling to get a quality player that was desperate to come. And West Ham fans are losing it, making my day. Yeah, that has definitely been a very enjoyable part of this whole experience, seeing West Ham fans absolutely losing their shit, being salty, not being happy about it at all. Also being a bit in denial a lot of the times. Oh, you're not going to get him for this. He's never going to go to you. Oh, we ever sell to all these different things. And to be fair, part of me, a lot of them agreed with them, saying, not why would he come, but like, I didn't really believe we would get him for a good deal and it would be this simple. But has turned out, the Tottenham tax thing.
What happened to your Tottenham tax, mate? What happened to your Tottenham tax?
It was bollocks. I have to admit, bollocks. It was rubbish. There was nothing to it. It's absolute nonsense. In fact, it was the opposite. We got a West Ham discount, not a Tottenham tax.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. Jacob Steinberg talking about like Tottenham tax and West Ham are going to make it hard for Tottenham and all this kind of stuff. He didn't get that one right, did he?
Absolutely not. No, it was him. There was Ben Jacobs and Sammy Mockbell said he heard an unverified report about it as well. So there was a few people talking about it, but it turned out to be nonsense. It was the opposite of a Tottenham tax. We got maybe it was Prime Day at West Ham. We got a little Prime Day discount. PM017 says PSG right now, if they're doing this to Madrid, do we stand a chance in the Super Cup? They're going to be tired. They're going to be tired when it comes to the
Why are they not tired now?
Why they're not tired? Because they're on there. They're on it for the Super Cup. They're going to be tired once they face the mighty Tottenham. They're going to be running. They're going to be running around. What's it called? Kudus is going to be running rings around them. They're not going to know what hit them.
Exactly, especially when a fresh Kudus comes and plays in Udine. He's going to have the freedom of Udine.
Although they're playing who's Kudus? Kudus is going to be up. No, he's not going to be up against Hakeem. He's going to be up against Mendes. Either way, God, they're fullbacks, man. Hakimi. I've never seen a fullback with that engine before. It's nuts. It is nuts how he could be full accelerating like at all parts of the game. I don't know how he does it. He's incredible. I think he's definitely become the best right back in the world, like by quite a distance now, I would say.
Yeah, weren't we heavily linked with him at one point?
When he was at Inter, I think when we were linked with Conte, maybe. I think by the time Conte came, he had already joined PSG. I think, but I think Conte had him. I think it was the summer we had Nuno. That was when we were really linked with him, I think. And then obviously we were heavily linked with Conte that summer, and it didn't happen. But we were heavily linked with Hakimi. If what could have been another player? Oh, what a signing!
Was it not under Jose? Did we not sign like Matt Doherty instead of him or something?
Well, that's my memory of it. I don't know. My memory of it was there was a similar summer, like we were linked with getting Conte in, and then like I think Hakimi was being linked with us. I don't think it was ever serious. I don't think we ever had a bid rejected or anything like that, to my knowledge or to my memory, unless it was something.
How nice is it to see finally Spurs get up and running in this bloody transfer window?
Beautiful. We have arrived. We have arrived. We've got our own big signing. You know, we've been complaining about all the other big sides making big signings with big players, Premier League proven, or big signings anyway. And now we've got one for ourselves and something to be happy about. And but it's interesting. I was watching some West Ham fan reaction on YouTube, and they were all like so certain, oh, well, he's going to flop. He's rubbish. You'll see, he's going to flop, and even if he doesn't flop, he's going to be down tools after a year. That's what Kudus does. But look, at the end of the day, like I think Defoe put in a transfer request, and he did down tools when he came to Spurs, did he? So it's just because he did it at West Ham doesn't mean it's going to happen at Tottenham. It's not that simple. You know, we're going to hopefully
going to be a major success at Tottenham. I guarantee you that now. Major.
Yeah. I think he's got so much potential to really explode at Spurs. Like this guy is such a serious talent, and he's still, he's 24. He's by no means the finished article, and so we're getting him at a good time. We're getting him a really good time, and I'm really hoping Frank can get him to really fulfill his potential. Because if he does, we've got such a serious player when he plays at his full potential. He really does. Let's see. What are the people saying? We see some comments here. Neil Hughes says, not a fan. He'll flop at Spurs.
Get out of here.
Come on.
He's going to be brilliant at Spurs. What are you talking about? That's got to be trolling, man. It's got to be trolling. It's nice as well, like finally we've brought in a player with this kind of ability from a Premier League team as well. Premier League proven. I'm just so delighted with this deal, man. I think this is probably the deal I've been most excited about. Who's the last signing you've been this excited about?
Great question. What's the last signing I got this excited about? I think definitely I'm even though I was excited for Solanke, I'm definitely more excited for this deal than I was for Solanke. Rishi, I was pretty confident was going to be a good deal, but I think I'm more excited because I think definitely Rishi, I see a lot more quality in Kudus than I do in Richarlison. As much as I rated Richarlison really highly at the time, I think definitely when I'm looking at like what they've got in their game, I definitely see a lot more to Kudus than I did even when Richarlison was at Everton. Maybe someone says Maddison. Yeah, I was very excited for Maddison, to be fair. I was very excited for Maddison. That's not a bad shout.
I'm much more excited for Kudus than I was for Maddison and Richarlison, to be honest. Probably put together. Probably the last one was probably Ndombele. I was gassed for Ndombele when
yeah, Tongi, I was probably gassed for that as well. I think Maddison, I think I might have been more. I don't know if I was more excited for Maddison. I think maybe I was. Maddison, I was really, really happy about. I couldn't believe we got him because I was certain he wasn't going to come to us.
Yeah, it
Trying
looked
to
like he
think
was
who
going to go
else
to
we've signed.
Newcastle, didn't he?
To be fair, Bissouma we're pretty happy about, but I think Kudus, we're definitely more happy about it here. Yeah, it's definitely one of the most exciting signings for a long time. We swapped Kudus for Werner.
A bit of an upgrade, isn't it?
Yeah, not bad, is it? Not bad when you put it like that.
Edward Talk saying, is Kudus a statement signing?
It's a good question. It's a very good question. Is Kudus a statement signing? Like when you look at the Kudus signing and you compare him to like massive signings other clubs have made, is he as much of a sure thing, do we think, as like, you know, I'm not saying it's the same caliber. Like, you know, when Arsenal signed Rice for 100 million, you just knew that guy's going to be a success. He's just going to be good. Like, there's just, he can't not be good. He will be. Like, I'm not saying he's going to be as good as Rice, like, in terms of importance and stuff like that, but, like, is he in that category where surely he can't flop? Like, this guy's just going to be good. Like, is there little doubts? Like, is he actually going to be as good as we hope?
I think I have less doubts than other people, but the general consensus, I think there are some doubts just because of the season he's just had. But I think the season is kind of an outlier, to be honest. I just think there was too much going wrong at West Ham. I think he's going to fit so well into the Tottenham system. I think Frank's going to get the best out of him. And I think the way we're going to play under Frank is just going to be tailor-made to him. And Frank is literally going to play into his strength, where West Ham weren't really doing that, where they did do that in his first season. And in his first season, he flourished. And we all saw what happened in his first season. So I think last season was a bit of an anomaly in terms of his career. And I think the stats pretty much suggest that. But look, other people like outside of Tottenham and some people in the Spurs fan base do have reservations about this signing. And I think like there would probably be more excitement, and other fans would maybe suggest it's more of a statement signing if we were to sign like Acuna, for example, because of the signing, because of the season he just had at Wolves.
Yeah, I think if people are doubting it, I can understand it, because I think there is question marks. I don't think it's like I don't see the signing as like he's guaranteed to work. I think it is still a bit of a risk, but I think it is a risk worth taking, because this guy's ability is just so evident. I think it's obvious for everyone to see, and I think if we can get it right, and we can get him to fulfill that potential, then it's going to look like one of the biggest bargains. I really believe that. But I don't think it's like a signing like a Acuna like that, which I just think it's just destined to work. Or like I'm trying to think of other like Verts potentially Liverpool, which I just think that is surely nailed on to work. Like I don't think Kudus, like, it should work. Like I think I'm confident it will, but it's not like guaranteed.
Yeah.
I guess, look, I know no signing's guaranteed, but like, you know, some there's just like it's so unlikely that it fails.
PSG now 4-0.
Yeah, just watching it. Gonçalo, they're really taking him to task here.
They are. I reckon they're going to tear Chelsea a new one, man.
It's embarrassing, this game. It's absolutely embarrassing for Madrid.
PSG are literally the best team in the world right now, and like, it's mad.
And it's mad how they've done it. It should be a lesson, I think, how PSG have done. I know it's not like they've spent no money, but like in terms of the lesson, like the lesson is they chased big signings and big players, and they chased the superstardom, and they chased like, oh, we've got all the money in the world, let's just buy all these superstars. And the reality is, the irony is, it took them to sell every superstar before they became a super team, which I think is a lesson to a lot of clubs should take, and maybe Tottenham. I mean, I think, to be honest, I would say it's a lesson Tottenham should take, but maybe more Tottenham fans than the club, because I don't think the Spurs club have ever had that problem.
There's lessons to be learned in terms of the Ousmane Dembele signing as well, because Ousmane Dembele is always a player that's had like elite ability, unbelievable ability, but never really showed it at Barcelona. You know, the last couple of years at Barcelona, to be honest, his whole Barcelona career, he never really got the goal contributions that maybe people suggested he would have got because of the talent that he has. But he's gone to PSG. The manager's found a new position for him, and he's just gone into one of the best players in the world. And finally realizing that potential and talent that he does have. So that if we do that, like, you know, Kudus also, we're saying he's got that potential and talent, and it's all about harnessing it in the right way. I'm not saying he's going to be an Ousmane Dembele. I'm not saying that at all, but it's kind of similar situation.
I know you're trying to say 100%. It's all about knowing how to get the best of him, profiling him in the right way, and that, to be fair, is what Frank is known best for. And he's known best for, you know, it's one thing is first of all profiling correctly. Where does he play? How do you want him to play? But also just getting those relationships on the pitch correct as well. Getting him near players who he works well with, developing that on the training pitch, and getting them to play out on the pitch. And unfortunately, that does all these things. That takes time, and it takes those relationships take time to build, especially if you're going to, you know, switch things up. So don't be surprised if that doesn't pay off immediately. But that is what Frank is very good at developing. But let's hope it doesn't take too much time. But you know, I think it will probably take a bit of time to figure all that stuff out. To be honest, but yeah, I wonder if, like, the way PSG have gone about things is that, you know, are bigger clubs going to take note of it? Are people going to start moving away from real superstars who command big wages, who just like basically like Mbappe, who just like, I score this many goals, I don't have to do anything else, basically, where now they've got just 3 attackers who are all very good, don't get me wrong, but they all do their work for the team and they all like play their role correctly. Whereas maybe when they had that front three of Neymar, Messi, and Mbappe, like, yes, they're all unbelievable players, some of the world's best, but they kind of all had this mentality like, I'm so good, like everyone should be doing the work for me, essentially. And you can't be having that mentality.
Yeah, I mean, look, the work that they did in the transfer market has just been genius. There was Luis Campos, the sporting director. What a job he's done there, man. I mean, look, everyone knew Kvaratskhelia. Everyone knew what a good player he was before he joined PSG. You know, he won the league with Napoli the year before he joined, or 2 years before he joined. He's been incredible. Ousmane Dembele, we touched on. Desiree Doué. I mean, everyone knew this guy's going to have a massive future in the game, but no one expected him to explode like he's exploded this season. Like, wow. Desiree Doué, what a player. Like, when we were looking at him, we were like, yeah, we got to get this guy in. This guy is going to be incredible in a couple of years' time. But he's literally one of the best players in the world already.
Literally, he's phenomenal. No, I agree with you're saying. They're all phenomenal players, don't get me wrong, but they're not like on the Mbappe, Messi, Neymar level where like, they just have this ego where like, I'm so good, like everyone else needs to basically just facilitate me. That's kind of how, and when you have 3 players in the team like that, you know, that's why it completely flopped. And even one, I mean, Mbappe was there and they still couldn't really do much in the Champions League. But as soon as he left, look at them, they're just flying, absolutely flying.
Yeah.
And it always comes back to that one clip that I love watching, that when Enrique is not laying into, but he's, you know, having a go at Mbappe for not defending and stuff. Like, that really just encapsulates what this current PSG are all about. And what a phenomenal manager Enrique is. Absolutely phenomenal.
And Mbappe's playing in this game. He must be looking at being like, so was that the problem then?
He looks completely out of sorts. I know he's come back from an injury and stuff, but he looks just completely out of it. Shall we look at some reaction?
All right, let me get it up. All right, let's go and see how the internet is reacting to this story and some. So this is what's this? This is Richarlison.
So there's some players coming up from pre-season as well. So we got some little bits and pieces there. So a lot of players coming back today, which is really good to see. So that seems to be up and running. But yeah, we'll get into all the reaction.
What's he saying, Richarlison?
Can you put it on? There you go.
I have more titles this guy in talking about. I have more titles this guy in talking about.
I want you this guy what? I don't know. I want you this guy. Anyone in the chat know what you're saying?
This guy in talking about.
Is he saying
I
talking
have
French?
this guy in talking.
I don't know.
what this guy is saying.
Anyone know in the chat? But I don't know what he's saying, but it seems as though Takai is, getting comfortable with his teammates quickly, which is nice. Although Richarlison might be off soon. But...
This guy in talking.
I don't know what the hell he's saying. Richarlison's hard to
He
understand.
headbutted this guy in training. Someone said no, he didn't. Did he say that? Is that what he said?
I don't know what
I
he's
don't
saying.
know. I don't know what anyone in the chat know exactly. Can anyone, any lip readers or anyone pass? Anyway, but it's good to see Takai.
I literally cannot get a word of that.
Richarlison's English is not good at the best of times, to be fair. So I don't know. I don't even know if it is English.
This one's from Cosmo High saying Spurs, in brackets Levy, gaslighting little old West Ham, telling them that the deal is good and all.
Yeah. Just waiting for fantastic.
He definitely caught them with their pants down today, man. 100%.
100%. And that's what a lot of West Ham fans feel as well. So listening to them, they say Levy's had their pants down properly.
Mickey van der Ven is back, people.
Look at that. He's looking the shades, looking cool. Let's just hope he doesn't do his hammy. Don't go too strong.
I can't wait to see Mickey van der Ven and Kudus link up, man.
They're going to do something tomorrow for sure.
Oh, Mickey, good to see him back. Oh, Matters looking fly.
Yeah, Matters. I mean, is there a picture? I don't know if I liked it actually. He's back on the grass and kicking footballs and stuff. So yeah, that's really positive.
I read about it. They said he's still doing individual training, so he's not fully fit yet to be integrated. But at least he's back on the grass.
So it sounds like come the beginning of the season he might be though, which is good.
Yeah. Hopefully he can get some game time in pre-season for sure.
And he was showing off his new Europa League tattoo on his leg.
What is that?
I think you have to. It wasn't on that picture, but there was a picture going around. He got the Europa League tattoo tattooed onto the back of his leg.
They're all coming in as such champions. Look at that aura of champions.
They are European champions. Absolutely, have the swag, people. Come on.
This is Bissouma coming in on his first pre-day back.
Nice to have Yves back.
SAB says, you are going to rattle so many West Ham fans with the video, and I love it.
This was in reaction to our instant reaction to Kudus when the deal broke. And yeah, definitely a few digs of West Ham, it's fair to say.
Go back and watch it, people. Jamie.talk says, Kudus to Spurs, it hurts, properly hurts. We've just sold arguably our best player to definitely our biggest rival in the league for 55 million. After the season he had, you could justify it, but should it have ever come down to this? Not a chance. I'm so disillusioned with West Ham right now. The love's still there, but it's fading year by year. Just like the song, mate. Just like the song.
We've got them disillusioned with their football club. That's how bad it is with this transfer. They can't hack it at all. I have seen a lot of people in the comments of this comment saying, like, laughing in because he called Tottenham their biggest rival, saying, "Oh, biggest rivals, what a joke!" But the reality is, we are their biggest rivals. They're not ours. We're their number 3 for us. But I've got no problem him calling us their biggest rivals. That's exactly what they are. But unfortunately, we don't reciprocate. Like, a lot of West Ham fans feel like. I saw again I was watching reaction. They seemed angry that Tottenham always downplay the rivalry, blah blah blah. The reality is, you're number 3 in the pecking order. Just that's your place for us. You're not our number 1 rival.
How can it be a rivalry if we just take their best players? Like, what sort of rivalry is that?
That's not right. Exactly. That's not a rivalry. Imagine actually doing business like club to club with Arsenal. That's just never in a million years going to happen. Or imagine West Ham trying to take one of a player that we want to keep. Like, it's never going to happen in a million years. That's not a rivalry.
Will Liverpool ever be able to take Everton's best player?
Never.
It will just won't be
never going to happen. No, it just never won't happen. So how can that be? How much a rivalry can actually be if we're capable of doing that?
You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous, this whole thing. Like, this is not how rivalries act. We can't just like take your best player consistently from Scott Parker to Defoe to Canute to Carrick and now Kudus. Like, it's just if they call us our biggest rivals and that happens, it's just a complete embarrassment. Consistent
Absolutely.
embarrassment on their part, man. It really is. Like, it just shows you where they are in the food chain. It just shows you how much in the mud this club are, seriously.
Exactly.
Alex THFC says Tottenham tax, and we ended up paying even less.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Saying Tottenham reduced the Mohamed Kudus fee by 10 million. West Ham insisted they wanted 65 for the forward, but eventually accepted a bid worth 55 million.
Yeah, incredible. And it's great business. It really is. I really did think they were going to be stubborn about it, but I was absolutely wrong about that. I thought they were going to make it difficult for Tottenham. I thought they would try and do anything to not sell to Tottenham, but it just seems as though that was just not the case at all. They were more than happy to sell to Tottenham. They were. I don't know whether it was just the delay was they were ironing out the details and a bit of negotiation, or was there genuinely hope they were waiting for Chelsea? But either way, it seems as though they really were in a rush to do this deal. It seems West Ham, I think.
Yeah. When's the protest starting? That's what I want to know.
Oh, I've got to start organising
it. Curtis Shaw, Arsenal podcaster, says offering 50 million for Madueke while Kudus is going for 55 million is scandalous.
Absolutely.
Arsenal have put in an official bid today for Madueke, 50 million.
I think it's crazy.
Mad. That is mad.
Although I do think Madueke is a good player, but I think Kudus' ceiling for me, I think is higher, and I think to have a 5 million difference between the two is a bit crazy. I think that's a bit crazy.
I don't think he's a 50 million pound player, Madueke.
No, he's not.
And like, right now, Arsenal, with the way they're conducting deals at the moment, apparently they're haggling over like 4 or 5 million for Gyökeres. They're like they're haggling over this extra 5 million as well for this defender from the La Liga they want to get. But then they straight away smack down 50 million for Madueke. I just don't get it.
Maybe they must be convinced that this guy has got a lot more potential than he's showing.
But they don't even need him desperately.
Yeah, he's going to be a backup.
It's mad.
It's crazy.
It's absolutely nuts. I don't know what they're doing, seriously. But look, I'm here for it, man. Hotspur edition, so fucking Spursy, and that's in a quote retweet to Spurs spend 130 million on Solanke, Brennan Johnson, and expect to get Kudus for 50 million.
And we did. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's mad, isn't it? We spent, similar amount to what we spent on Brennan from a direct rival, somewhat supposed to be a rival. One of their best players with someone of his quality. It's just a great deal.
Next one is West Ham Place, saying West Ham are so desperate for cash that we have to sell our best players to who have an 85 million release clause for 55 million to our biggest rivals. We're done. We're so done. Get David Sullivan out of the club now.
God, they sound like Tottenham fans of old. I feel like we've probably said similar things to that right now, but we're so done. Love it. So funny.
Yeah, but we don't sell our best players to our biggest rivals.
No, we don't. We've never done that. We have sold big players to rivals, but I guess they weren't really rivals. We sold Berbatov to like United, and we sold Walker to City. But other than that, it was like Bale and Modric to Madrid, so they weren't rivals. Obviously,
you're talking about deep hatred rivals. Like, we got nothing with Liverpool and Manchester United. I'm talking about Spurs selling to Arsenal, Spurs selling to Chelsea. You know what I mean? We actually took less money because Modric wanted to go to Chelsea from Real Madrid the year after. We did everything in our power not to let him go to Chelsea.
Yeah. In fact, Levy broke the gentleman's agreement to not allow him to join Chelsea. That's how much we refused. That was Chelsea, let alone like anyone like Arsenal. I wonder what if from a Tottenham point of view, what would be the sale that maybe in terms of just the club we sold to hurt the most? Obviously, forgetting, he who shall not be named, that wasn't a sale, but I'm trying to think what player we actually sold to a different club just because it hurt because of who we sold it to, rather than just like how much we got or who it was. I'm trying to remember. I guess I would say Walker hurt quite a bit because we were actually ahead of City at the time, so I think that maybe hurt quite a bit.
The one that actually hurt me the most, it's not because of who we went to, but it's just because of the way it was done, was the Berbatov one.
Berbatov. Actually, I think for me, maybe even Robbie Keane hurt more that summer because Liverpool won. I mean, when we sold him, I don't think they were that good of a side. Oh no, they were quite good. I think at that point, but still, like, we just won the trophy. I think he had said he wanted to be at Tottenham for his whole career. Only a few months before, he had like been at. I think he was like our vice captain, and then all of a sudden, he's saying, "Oh, he's always a Liverpool fan," and all these things, and to join Liverpool, that hurt quite a bit. But yeah, Berbatov, obviously the fact that it lasted the whole summer and it went to deadline day, and we ended up saying to United we only got Fraser Campbell in return, that definitely hurt. But I can't think of a sell. I guess maybe it is Walker, in terms of just because of who we sold it to, it hurt a little bit more. I can't think too many.
It's not even like the club that would, just because we sold them to Man City. Like, there's never been anything in my memory where we've sold to a local rival, to Arsenal. Mm-hmm. It's just not happened. Or West Ham.
Yeah. Obviously, we sold to United, but
it rarely happens in general, unless it's like Spurs taking off West Ham. It rarely happens to anyone.
And Arsenal taking off Chelsea.
And obviously, Tevez went to Man City.
Tevez went to Man City, but they didn't sell him, did they? They got him. It was a weird deal. Like, I think they signed him for a big fee, but I don't think the money went to United or something. I don't know. It was a weird deal. But because United didn't take up the option or something. But yeah, that happened. But it wasn't United directly selling to City, is my point. I'm trying to think of other ones. Yeah, it's apart from Arsenal getting Chelsea rejects, it doesn't really happen too often.
Pretty much, yeah. Well, Arsenal and Chelsea have a special relationship. I'm telling you, there's got to be something dodgy going on between Arsenal and Chelsea. There has to be. There's got to be some sort of something going on in the background. This is not normal. What's going on between Arsenal?
Has it all happened since Clear Lake, or was there any deals before Clear Lake?
Nah, it's been going on before that, because Giroud went, and other stuff.
Giroud, Jorginho, and Jorginho. Oh, that's since Clear Lake.
There's been stuff going on before Clear Lake, but there's definitely something dodgy going on. There's like some Chelsea mole within Arsenal, within the backroom staff at Arsenal or something, because this ain't normal what's going on.
No, it's not normal. I agree.
All right. Next one. What is this video? 3 minutes.
I'm going to try my very hardest to stay as calm as I possibly can during this video. I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, am I pissed off that Mohamed Kudus is going to Tottenham? A little bit. I don't like it. I didn't want it to happen, but I had come to accept that it was probably going to happen. I still had this little bit of hope that Chelsea would come in and nick him off them, and that still is technically possible, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen now. So yeah, I'm a little bit pissed off that he's going to Tottenham. I didn't want to see it happen at all, but I've kind of already come to terms with that bit. Am I annoyed that I'm going to have Tottenham fans in my comment sections now for forevermore about this? Yeah, that's a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, it's just banter. And I've been bantering Tottenham fans, and I've always said, like, you don't give it if you can't take it, and I can take a little bit of banter, so that is fine. Am I more pissed off about the fact that they're only paying 55 million? Yeah. That is a piss take. Levy's had a fucking pants down over this. What a serious 55. That's it. That's all it took. 55 million. That's it. What happened to this Tottenham tax? What happened to this? We don't want to do any business with Tottenham. We don't want to sell to Tottenham. What happened to any of that? That just went all out the window, didn't it? They just did. Because apparently we need money, which we don't fucking need, by the way, because our owners are worth over £13 billion. But no, we're going to do this and we're going to sell him for 55 million instead of trying to rinse as much money as we possibly can out of Spurs for a player that they desperately wanted. No, we let him go for 30 million pounds under his release clause. Now, as I've always said, like, I never expected us to get 85 million, but I at least thought that we'd push him to like 65 or something like that. Not let him go for 55 million. 55 million. Tottenham are paying the exact same amount for Mohamed Kudus as Newcastle are paying for Anthony Elanga. Right? A deal between Anthony and East. That's the bit that's pissed me off. The fee. I'd accepted the fact he was going to Tottenham. I've accepted the fact that I'm going to be bantered in the comments for forevermore. Right? That's going to happen. But that fee takes the fucking biscuit for me. 55. That is up. That is. Oh, screw you, Sullivan. Seriously, just screw you, Sullivan. You.
That is phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Oh, mate.
West Ham fan 86.
Mate,
He was fuming.
salty as fuck.
Can't hack it. Sometimes when people do that thing where they ask themselves questions, you expect them to say, well, am I that pissed? Like, no. But he kept just saying, yeah, I am. I am pissed. Am I pissed that he's going to Tottenham? Yeah. Am I pissed that he's going to get bantered? Yeah. But am I more pissed that he's going to, I mean, hell yeah. And it's interesting the point he brings up. We're paying the same amount for Kudus that Newcastle are paying for Elanga, which is it's also a very good point. Although you would definitely say Elanga had a better year last year. But I just feel like Kudus is a better player.
Kudus has got much more to his game than Elanga. Much more. I think he's a much better player. I think, look, players can have better seasons, fine. Like Jacob Murphy probably had a better season than Mohamed Kudus last year. But does that mean Jacob Murphy is a better player than Kudus? No, it doesn't. Almiron had a better season a couple of years ago. You know what I mean? Does that mean he's a better player? No, they just had really good seasons. But when you're looking at the attributes that these players have, Mohamed Kudus is a brilliant, brilliant player. It's just about harnessing it and getting the best out of it.
Absolutely. I think his potential is a much more than Elanga, in my opinion. Look, I think Elanga's a good player. I agree with you. It's like he's very good at what he can do. Like that, he's very good at getting that running behind, that finish into the far corner. He's got a good left foot. But I think when you look at the skill sets of both players and how much I think Kudus can level himself up, I think he's got so much more to to his game than I think what Elanga can do.
All right, let's move on. West Ham Central saying, no Tottenham fans, Kudus would never join you. Shoo.
That was a year ago. 30th September. God, how time flies, eh? How time flies.
West Ham Central, and West Ham are the gift that keeps giving, man. West Ham transfer says, David Sullivan said, we want to sell Kudus as close to 85 million release clause as possible. There will also be a Tottenham tax. Proceeds to accept 55 million.
Fantastic. Fantastic.
You got caught with your pants down, Sullivan. And Alistair Gold said,
this is with a gift because he was on holiday today. Unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable how this keeps happening.
Is this just like a running joke now where he just has to say he's on holiday, like when Spurs make a signing? Or is he actually
look at the date. It said when he said so that tweet underneath says when you next on holiday. That was on 2 days ago, and he said Wednesday.
He knew something that we didn't, maybe.
Every single time. It's crazy. I don't know. Do you reckon Tottenham just wait for Harley Gold to go on holiday now?
Literally.
It's mad.
Oh, God.
It's actually crazy.
Yeah, and I think that's it for Reacts. But some golden nuggets in there for all of you guys. Brilliant stuff. Oh,
that's phenomenal.
It's lovely to have a smile back on our faces again, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's great to have a transfer bomber we can all get behind. And it's great to be excited about a deal, and it's great to get one. Looks like we're going to get one over line tomorrow. There's just so much to be excited about.
So tomorrow is Kudus Day.
That's according to Plettenberg. That's what he says. All goes to plan. Plettenberg. Kudus will be announced tomorrow. Be announced tomorrow. How quickly? And look, I think it was yesterday. He was training at West Ham. So this deal must have gone. The negotiation must happen very quite quickly.
Yeah. All right, cool. Look, I think that is all we do have for you guys today, but loved every minute of this hour stream. I can't wipe the smile off my face. West Ham fans in the mud. We can carry on laughing and look forward to the announcement that Spurs put out tomorrow. They've got to do something with the likes of Van de Ven, Brennan, and Richarlison, who got in that tiff with him in the Tottenham Stadium last season. But yeah, look, it looks as though Spurs are very close, or Spurs are very close to wrapping up their first significant signing of the summer. Potentially a Wissa to follow. We'll have to wait and we'll see what happens with those developments. Romero, all quiet on the Western front with him. So we'll have to see if there's any developments on that. But yeah, players are starting to filter through. More players are starting to filter through anyway for pre-season. Just over a week to go until our first pre-season game as well. So yeah, a lot of things to look forward to, people. So
it's all happening in Tottenham.
Exactly. Have a good night, everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.